Hey, Ash. Oh. You couldn't have opened that in the last 40 minutes that we were here.
It's my Celsius. I need this. Give me this. I'm so tired, guys.
Ash.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, Ash.
Hey, Taryne.
Did you know today's our 200th episode? Okay, but was that all the energy you had?
That was all I had. I'm done for the rest of the day.
Y'all.
Guys.
200.
That's a long time.
That's a big number.
Taryne, that means can we officially say that we do this?
We're
actual podcasters.
We do it.
I still live in a world where I'm just faking it in my head.
With the holidays around the corner, you might be wondering how you're going to be able to make ends meet and shower your loved ones with gifts. Dave can help you get out of a pinch so you can enjoy the holiday season.
Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. With Dave, there's no interest, late fees, or credit checks. That's more money to buy those last-minute gifts or catch up on bills without having to wait for your next paycheck. You can finally tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out without any hangups. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get the financial relief they need with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch and need some extra help, download Dave and think of it as a helping hand from future you.
Download the Dave app from the App Store right now or go to dave.com/advice. Sign up for an extra cash amount and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve Bank and Trust. Members FDIC. I really feel like because it's so fun and because we actually put zero effort into it. Not zero, but
she's not wrong.
The majority of our podcast is you guys, our UA fam. So it's we just come and we just bring
y'all
the sunshine.
Do the hard work. You bring us stories and we're just here for
we bring our bubbly personality.
Or lack thereof today.
Yeah. It's okay. I'll carry us. No, so I think it was last week or the week before, Michaela, our producer, mentioned that it was our 200th episode coming up. Mm-hmm, and that was just so crazy to me.
It's wild. I was thinking back. To not only talking to you about starting a podcast, but then I remember when we finally got here, Taryne and I, on our first day, we're sitting in the parking lot, and I was so nervous. Yeah. But then I wanted to celebrate because I knew we'd look back and be this is a good time. So I packed a bottle of tequila. Figure it out.
Okay, you opened a freaking can.
You're allowed this.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So to celebrate, I packed a bottle of tequila, and we were going to take a shot in the car to celebrate us finally getting here to this point, because a lot of planning
and
went into
to calm your nerves.
And I was nervous.
Yeah, you were so nervous.
So I brought tequila, but I didn't have a chaser.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
All I had with me in my bag was a clementine.
A little cutie. Yeah.
So to chase down the horribly not great tequila that I brought.
What time was it?
It was probably 1 p.m.
Oh, I thought it was in the morning.
Oh, it might have been morning.
I don't remember actually.
Actually, it sounds like it was probably a 10 a.m. or 11 a.m.
Yeah.
call. But all I had was a clementine, so we took the shot. And then chased it with the clementine, which it was a horrible chaser idea.
It was not good. It was not a good
nasty.
choice. It was not a good choice. And I feel like it's our 200th episode. Uh-huh. So if you're just joining us, welcome.
Hello.
We're gonna just be a little gushy and talking about memories in the podcast for the beginning. So whatevs. So I feel like we've reminisced a lot throughout different episodes, but it's so funny because I still remember we went to Reborn Coffee on Beach Boulevard, and you were acting weird. I specifically remember like I was like, something weird is happening.
Yeah.
And you sat me down and you were like, so I wanted to like ask you something. And you like the build up, I was so nervous. I was like, what did I do? Or like, is she like moving? Like what's happening? And it was just so cute because I had known like your passion for podcasts and your love for it and like you wanting to do it for so long. Mm-hmm. So it was just like such an honor for me that you asked me to do it. And I remember it was like such a easy, like the second you were like, would you want to do it with me? I was like, yeah. Like, I don't need to know anything else. Like, yeah, this would be so fun.
I think around that time, it was like a well-known fact that I wanted to start a podcast because I'd been listening to them for years at that point and was like, this is something I want to do. And I also had a moment where I was like, I'd been doing YouTube for a long time and I really felt kind of a little bit burnout, but more so like if this goes down the drain, I've got nothing. And I was like, I need to start like diversifying, which was something that was just kind of hitting me like that year specifically. It was a tough year. And I was like, I need to do more with my life. Like I need to change things up. And podcasting was such an easy, obvious solution to that.
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with my YouTube channel. It's its own thing, its own entity. And it's just something I enjoy. And it's still in the entertainment like field.
Yeah.
So everything just felt so natural and easy. I just had to figure out what the concept was.
Yeah.
And I knew that I didn't have time to come up with content for it because my channels takes up way too much time of that. So the perfect solution was to have our listeners give us the content.
So basically, you guys think we're creative?
A fun little game.
We just lazy.
I was like, they will bring us all the content.
We're like, how can we get free writers?
Yes.
But make them think.
And they'll bring us like, at a certain point, you run out of like stories to talk about, but you can't when you have so many people sending you fresh, original stories.
Yeah.
So it was honestly the perfect solution because it wasn't that much work on our part.
Well, also, like, I remember when we brainstormed, we were like, okay, what are like, because me and Ash, it's funny, we are polar opposites in so many ways.
Yeah.
But I feel
Which
like,
is why we get along.
Yeah. But like at the core of the things that like interest us, like we do have overlap, which is why we've like been able to connect so easy. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, like, I remember when we were brainstorming, we had like our notebooks out and we're like, what would we want to talk about? We kind of just had this moment where we're like, we love people, like we genuinely love people, and we love when people tell us stories. Like we both are the type that like stories. Thrive on like, oh, you have drama, like tell me everything. Like,
but even like funny stuff.
Yeah. So that was like, we kind of settled on like, okay, so like, what if we just like have people write in, we talk about life situations, whatever. And again, we've talked about this before. We primarily that's where the inflection was meant to go. Thought it was going to be a very light, funny podcast.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like girl stuff,
embarrassing
not gossip,
stories,
but like chit chat.
And so that's kind of like where we went in. Mm-hmm. And I don't even remember like what episode it started to shift. But it's funny because I was just talking to a friend who wants to start a podcast, and they were like, what is your biggest advice? And I think if I strip down everything that we've done and we've learned, my biggest thing is to like have plans but also have none, because I think when you organically go into something and you let it become its own living thing and like move and shift, I think that's when you get something beautiful. Because like imagine if we would have like put our foot down and been like, no, we're only reading funny stories. Yeah. Like we have hit some of like the heaviest topics you can hit. Yeah. And we've also both like gone through really heavy things in life. And we've not only shared our experience, but we've created the space that people can just come and feel safe to talk about the things that either nobody talks about or people avoid talking about. Yeah. And I just think like there's so many times where like I think back on episodes and think about people writing us in being like, you seriously have like changed my life and helped me so much. And it gets me like emotional because like what if we would have like never just listened to our listeners, but also just like what felt right. Like
just
it's
like allowed
so
it to
cool.
flow.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Oh, it's so crazy. Yeah, you guys have really taken us down like a completely different trajectory than we thought the podcast was going to be, but like in the best way. We said this at our live show, but we are so grateful for you guys. We love you guys so much. And I feel like I learn so much because of the situations and stories that you guys bring to the table.
Yeah.
For Taryne and us to talk about. A lot of times I don't necessarily know how I feel. And by the end of the episode, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is what I would do, you know, or here's how I feel about it. And it's because it's like this nice open table where we're able to discuss stuff in a safe place.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Remember our Harry Potter closet?
Yeah.
When we first started, so we're signed with Studio 71. They were in the process of building the original studio that we went to, the white one.
Yes.
And they hadn't had it built yet, and we weren't doing video yet. So it didn't really matter where we recorded. So we were in this tiny, tiny little closet downstairs.
Well, and it was COVID.
It wasn't COVID yet.
Oh, you're talking about, I thought you were talking about the closet. You're talking about like our first episode where we recorded here. Yes.
Was in this tiny little room with like blankets on the walls, and there was a random
cat. There was a cat photo
there. Yeah, it was just like this funny little closet that we recorded in, and like did our first 10 episodes there, I think.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, and I remember we've talked about this before too, but the first episode, and it was funny the way, so our first photo shoot that was going to be for our cover art and like announcing that we had a podcast. I was like pooping my pants the whole time. I was so nervous, and you were like thriving. And then when we came to the first episode, I was like, where's the mic at? Like, point me to the mic. Like, I'm good to go.
And I was looking at there was like a group of people standing in our recording room on our first episode. It was like my manager at Studio 71, and like these two guys who we hadn't met yet, who ended up being our
Mark
producers.
And Andrew.
But like at the time I didn't know them. So there was like two strangers there, and essentially like two people that I don't necessarily want to like sit and talk in front of like this. So I was very nervous for that first episode.
And I was thriving.
I was literally like, everything in me was trying to not look at them.
Yeah. Well, and we've said, I feel like everything we've said before, but like we're just going to say it again. Andrew had said that Mark like it's not easy to make him laugh or something. And that is the actual biggest challenge you can give me. Because I've said before, I'm like Tinkerbell. Like if I can't make people laugh, then like I'll die. So I was like, challenge accepted. And then I remember the whole time like he was behind me, but I kept like, I would ask Ashley, I'd be like, is he laughing? Or I'd like turn to look. And I made him laugh multiple times. So I mean, I was feeling great. You did great though, Ash.
Yeah. I thought it was really good. And obviously we're still here.
I feel like
I did okay.
It didn't take you long. I feel like it was like the first couple episodes where I could, because I just know you so well, I could feel you kind of like, it was very, not forced, but almost like you were like, trying to like break through
okay,
this.
Here's things to say. Because I was trying to like fill up the space.
But then I feel like you very quickly settled into, because I think once you're like, oh, yes, there's like people recording and whatever, but at the end of the day, I very rarely like look away from you. Like it's just us sitting and talking, which we do anyways. So it's kind of nice, but
happy 200, guys.
I know.
Happy 200.
So exciting. What is, if you like, what's the first episode or story that comes to mind if you think of like one that stuck out the most to you?
I mean, anyone that always asks me this, I always go with an October series story.
Okay.
And I feel like I've said this before, but the cornfield party story. I'm not kidding, guys. I think about it all the time. Like I think about it probably once a month at least.
October series was very organic too, how that started.
Yeah, that wasn't planned. Also, I know a lot of my friends asked me recently even like how the October series started, and I was like, I've just always loved October. I've always loved spooky stories. I was like, I can't do a lot of scary movies and scary stories, but I love spooky.
Yeah,
and I love like a little like no, a little gasp, a little mystery. Like, how did that happen? I don't know. I don't want to know. Like that kind of stuff. And so I remember talking to Taryne and we were like, we should do like a scary story.
Yeah.
And then
did we do like the promos and everything the first October?
That was just we didn't plan it. We just kind of, it just was a happy coincidence.
That's
and we
so cool.
Ended up sticking with it. Yeah, which I think the first one was our Harry Potter.
That was epic.
Right?
Our first year of promos was very epic.
It was very fun, yeah.
We need to step it up a little bit with our promos, but like...
I feel like our promos are great.
They're great. Those were like theatrical productions.
They were theatrical productions, yeah.
We have all been there. I know I definitely have, of experiencing living paycheck to paycheck. You know the struggle, Ash.
Oh, it's the worst.
If you're struggling to make ends meet, the holidays may be a really stressful time for you. But with Dave, you can get your money sooner, or you can spend more time enjoying the holidays with your loved ones, not worrying about how much money you have to get through the week.
If you don't already know, Dave is the banking app that could help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. With Dave, there's no interest, late fees, or credit checks. That's more money to buy those last-minute gifts or catch up on bills without having to wait for your next paycheck. You can finally tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out without any hang-ups. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get the financial relief they need with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch and you need some extra help, download Dave and think of it as a helping hand from future you.
Download the Dave app from the App Store right now or go to dave.com/advice. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve Bank and Trust. Member FDIC. Yeah, I think October series is like one of the funnest things that's come out of UA.
Yeah, that was such an unplanned, pleasant surprise. Love it. That's definitely one of my favorite stories. I'm trying to think of like a regular story that also stuck with me. I don't know. They're all so good.
I think for me, I can't think of a specific episode, but I think for me, one of the things that always has like really impacted me is when people write in and they say like, I haven't talked to anybody, but like I felt safe to write in. Like that to me, the fact that I feel like in our world, especially now, like you're so scared of judgment. You're so scared of people's opinions. So the fact that people feel safe to not only share their story, but to open their situation to these two girls to put input, because that's scary too. Like letting people have opinions on like your life situations. So that's been really cool. And then I love too when people write in and say like, oh, your advice you gave like the other day helped me give advice to like a friend. So I feel like it's cool to see how it like kind of ripples out too. Yeah. Like it's not just us talking about stories, but like we're also helping like people who are listening with how to handle situations in their own life. Yeah. That's been like really cool.
No, I love it
too. I love this podcast so much. Like I genuinely do.
Same.
Yeah. Good times. Do we want to do a tearing it up? Do you want to like talk about tearing it up? Because
let's talk about tearing it up.
You love it so much.
It is my favorite segment, and I think again that's because originally we thought we were coming in here to tell funny stories and have girl talk. I don't know if you guys even know this, but we were in like the comedian category. Yeah. Because that was the whole plan of the podcast.
I think we still technically are.
I think we still are. It's definitely more in the like health and wellness category.
Yeah.
I think there's still a splash of
comedy.
But
our what's it called? Our bio is comedians.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I read that. I've never been called a comedian.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can't give yourself that title. Like it has to be given to you. And I'm not joking. What it did to me when I read that, I was like, I
am funny.
I am funny. I am laughter. Yeah. Wait, what were we talking about?
Tearing it up and how it all started because Taryne has so many very unfortunate, awkward, embarrassing stories. Yes. And we used a lot of them in the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, I feel like almost every episode I would share
a funny, embarrassing story that happened to you.
Me, yeah.
Which I'm trying to think of what your the Mike Trout one. That was embarrassing.
That was Mike Trout one, the high five invitation.
Yeah. Wait.
Rockstar.
Should you just reset?
Sure,
I bet there's so many listeners that haven't heard it.
When I tackled that dummy, which one do you want to know?
I like the high five.
Okay. Let's set the scene.
Welcome to one of the original Tearing It Ups ever.
Oh, were you there for this one?
No,
I think you weren't there.
Liesl was.
No. It was Courtney and Ash. Smash.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I love having crushes on people, and I'm usually very charismatic. I can flirt. I can talk to guys easy. But every once in a while, I'll have a crush on a guy who absolutely immobilizes me. Like, I can't function or talk.
I feel like those are the best.
They are the best.
Yeah.
And they're the ones I want to, like, marry. But I can't because I cannot speak to them.
Yeah.
So there's this one guy I had a massive crush on. He was my friend's husband's band's singer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we would go to the shows all the time. And like my friends knew that I was like obsessed with this guy. But every single time he tried to talk to me, like I would do something really dumb. So there was one show, we were all in like kind of like a circle. And there was probably like 10 people in the circle. So it was a little socially overwhelming if you get nervous.
There's a lot going on. Yeah.
And so he was across the circle from me. And he we were like saying bye, and he kind of did this like weird step forward and just kind of like raised his hands, and I said, "Oh, is that a high five invitation?" And everybody, it just was like record scratch, like everyone just looks, and then it's just him and me like looking at each other in the circle, and he was like, "Oh, yeah." And he goes and he gives me a high five. And then I said, "Ow." And just walked away. It was so bad. A high five invitation. Who says that?
No one.
I do.
Well, I mean, at least it's authentically you.
I mean, I guess.
Because now that I know you so much better now, I'm like, yeah, I guess that is something you would say.
That is something I would say. But that was not like, I didn't mean to say it. And he didn't respond in a way where it was funny. So it was just like awkward.
This was more recently, but I had a moment where I had just met this group of people and this guy was showing me around. This was at like church, and I was going to be joining the worship team. And it was this new group of people that I didn't know that well. And the leader was showing me around and like introducing me to everyone and showing me like where the recording studio is and where all my stuff was going to be and blah, 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 blah. And then we were, I forget how this happened.
Oh,
he went to like, yeah. He went to, he had to leave. So he went to like give me a high five. And I thought he was going in for a hug.
It's so awkward.
And, you know, it's like the church group. So it's always like a nice side hug.
Yeah.
You know?
With a little pat.
With a little, yeah. So I started going in for the side hug. And like, he goes, "Oh." And I was like, "Oh, like, I'm already here." So then he like, my hand like went past him, and then he went in to hug me, and it was just the most like uncomfortable thing when you're in the process and about to hug someone who clearly wasn't trying to hug you.
Oh my gosh.
And you don't know them.
Yeah,
you know,
it
was so bad. There was no getting out of it. And I just remember being like, well,
that happened.
There's that. That was pretty mortifying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any. I feel like you brought all the good content to the table.
Yeah. Some of my favorite Tearing Ups that I can think of, the alcohol poem one.
Yeah.
That's still to this day, like, cracks me up when I think about it.
Yeah. There was someone wrote in a story where they were changing and accidentally had their entire window open and like kids saw, remember?
Yeah. I do remember
she like
that one.
glanced out the window and noticed like three boys were like sitting there, like walking past, and happened to just worst timing ever.
Yes. What was the other ones? There's been
the tampon that like fell out on, or the wet pad, the used pad that fell out on the floor at the amusement park. That was bad.
My brothers where the masseuse fell asleep.
Yeah.
While massaging, and then I had a massage therapist.
You
fall
know
asleep.
what? I just had a really funny massage story.
You did?
Yeah. So I finally, the day before Vlogmas, I was like, I'm treating myself. I'm going to go get a massage. My neck has been a mess for the past like 2 months. And I hadn't had a massage in probably 8 months. So I was like, I'm going to go. I tell the masseuse, the person there at the front desk, I'm like, I want deep tissue. Deep tissue. Yeah. So I
That's
get
my
in there.
actual nightmare.
It's this little girl, which is always like,
Yeah.
can you do are you strong? Can you handle this? You know,
Gosh, don't judge people.
I know, but
no, I get it.
So I'm sitting there on the table, and she starts massaging, and I'm not kidding. She's like, and what I'm doing with my hands is she's taking her like 2 pointer fingers and barely pressing into my shoulders. And at first I'm like, she's just warming up. We're fine.
She's finding the spots she's gonna like go into.
And I can feel her like tracing down like
your spine,
my muscles, and like following
things,
everything. But she's barely pressing. She's not even using all 4 fingers. Like she's using like her index and thumb. And I'm like, what is happening here? And you know how I was going to say something, but I was like, it takes like 15 minutes, and then they usually ask how the pressure is. So the second she was like, true. Hey, how's the pressure? I was like, you could go a lot harder. Yeah. And she goes, okay. And then she starts going, and it's the same.
She adds the middle finger.
And I'm a non-confrontational person. So the fact that I even said you could go harder was kind of a big deal for me. This is even more. I go out of my way to say, hey, did the person at the desk tell you
You said that?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Did the person at the desk tell you that I wanted deep tissue? And she goes, oh, yeah. And I was like, well... I was
at that point. Did you just accept it, or were you like fuming the whole time?
I accepted it, but I was fuming. Like there was nothing else I could do. I said everything I could.
Massages are expensive.
They're so expensive, and clearly that's all she had. That's all she could bring to the table. So I just sat there silently, and I was in the worst mood. Like I was like, this is doing nothing for me. Yeah. My dog could do better than this if I had her walk around on my back. Like this was such a waste of time. I was furious, but I could not get over the fact that she said, oh yeah, like I know.
She's like, this is deep tissue.
And I was like, this is not.
And you pay extra for deep tissue.
You do. It's like $20 extra.
Did you say anything after?
I was going to, but then I went with my boyfriend, and he was sweet and treated me.
Oh, you can't.
And I couldn't.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
That's not a good look.
I know. I literally walked out, and he was sitting down, and I went straight to the desk. I was going to pay and just be like, hey, I'm not mad. I'll still pay for everything. But just so you know, she can't do deep tissue. I was literally going to say that. I had practiced it while I was laying there fuming in my rage. And then the lady goes, oh, he paid for you. And I was like, thank you.
It.
Have a nice day. Like there was nothing to be done. I felt weird complaining. So she's still out there.
Beware. Should we give her name so people can avoid? No, I'm just kidding.
Samantha. Sure.
No, yeah. I feel like it's so funny because like if you think about like what a massage is, it's like you're literally just like naked and a stranger's just like rubbing oil on you. Mm-hmm. So there's so many opportunities for like weird stuff.
Weird, bad. Yeah.
100%. Great times. Also, it was funny because in our live show, I remember we had a moment. We're wrapping up the reminiscing right now. We had a moment where, remember, we like looked back at our pictures, and then I said something where I was like, look at her, like she didn't, or I don't remember how I phrased it, but I was basically like making a joke as like she was so innocent because like I've like had to go to therapy since then. I like had an eating disorder, depression, like all these things. But it's so funny because I do like look back at like when we first started, and I think we both have changed
so much.
I
mean, obviously that was a long time ago.
No, it was a long time ago.
Almost 5 years ago.
COVID, like this is like pre-pandemic. Like we had no idea what like was in store, but it's cool that this has been like such a consistent thing in both of our lives and something that's always been positive. Like, I don't remember a time where I was like, oh, I have to go record. Like, this has just been always something that I look forward to and that I prioritize because I like want to. You know what I mean? 100%. So it's just cool. You guys are everything to us. And if you're listening and you have been listening since day one, we appreciate you guys so much. And I don't know. I feel like everyone who has like any type of platform is like, we love you guys. Like, that's like popular thing to say. But like, I don't think you guys understand that like we genuinely do. Like, we leave and we talk about your stories still. Like, anybody that comes up to us that says like, I listen to your podcast, like I instantly feel connected to them. Mm-hmm. So
I talk about your guys' stories all the time in real life. People will be talking about like something going on in their life and I'll be like, oh my God, I just read this email on this on my podcast the other day and she went through something similar and here's what we decided and blah, blah, blah.
No, I literally before have been like, oh my gosh, my friend, like this happened. And then I'm like, who am I talking about? What friend am I talking about? And then I'll be like, wait, it was the podcast.
I don't know them. Yeah.
It was a story. Yeah. Since we've reminisced a lot, I feel like we'll just do one story.
Sure.
And I picked one that I feel like was our like what we thought all of our episodes were going to be like.
Yes.
It's very girl talk, very like, what should I do? It reminds me of like someone like if you're hanging out with a group of friends and your friend is like, okay, ladies, like I need to know like who's on my side, like that kind of thing. So I don't know. When I read it, I was like feeling emo about our 200th and like what we thought our podcast was going to be like. So I thought this was perfect. So this one is titled Time Sensitive, Who Has Dibs?
Oh, nice.
I love using dibs.
Taryne loves using dibs.
I call dibs on everyone, even celebrities.
She calls dibs on guys. We'll walk into a grocery store and she'll be like, dibs. I'll be like, on what? On who? Like, what are we even talking about?
That one. No, literally, like my one of my old roommates, we would like be watching TV and like Justin Bieber would come on the screen and I'd be like, dibs. She'd be like, Taryne, you cannot call dibs on Justin Bieber. And I'd be like, I just did.
Oh,
anyways.
No.
Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Stop reading your story. Now just pay attention to me.
Why?
I can tell. I know when you're
prepping.
not. I know when you're not listening to me. Okay. All right. Hi, Ash and Taryne. I'm Addie, and you can say my name. First off, I love you guys in your pod, and when in doubt, here is where I go for my girl advice. We love to give it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sip your coffees, ladies. Sip your Celsius.
I wish I had mine.
In the mic. Give us an ASMR.
I hope that was good enough.
Sip your Celsius, ladies, and because this one's a doozy. So I have a cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call her Nina.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Nina went to the World Cup party last Tuesday and had a great time.
I'm not even a soccer fan. I've been obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah. I love, I got into soccer because my first college I went to, because I went to like 4, I was 18 and I was like in my rebellious phase, which was still so like cute and innocent. But I made friends with this Scottish guy. And he was on the soccer team. And at my school, it was this known thing that like all the soccer team was like all from like all over the world. And it was like a Christian school, but they were all the crazy ones because they just basically came for sports. And so I made friends with him, and then I made friends with the whole soccer team, and that was my crew the whole year. Mm-hmm. And we got into like so much trouble, but it was so fun. But that was the first time I was like, wait, soccer is dope. Yeah. Like I had never watched soccer before that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, wow. Okay, so at this party, I saw a guy who I thought was really cute. While in a crowd, I pulled Nina aside and I pointed him out. She responded saying that she agreed and that this party had so many good-looking guys. We partied for a while. The whole time I was wondering if I should try to get his number. But then my dad showed up saying it was time to go. And because I didn't want to explain to him why I wanted to stay longer, I just decided to go. In the car, I shot Nina a text asking if she could try and get his number. But she didn't have her phone on her and never ended up getting the number. That night, I stalked everyone on Instagram trying to figure out who that guy was. Dude, I love a good, like, stalking challenge.
You're pretty good at it.
I'm so good at it.
I think it's safe to say you are her in this situation.
Yeah. There was the one I feel like I'm the most proud of was from, like, a dating app. And the only thing I could see half of a logo on his shirt. Mm-hmm. And I could tell it was, like, an old, like, sports picture from, like, college or something. So I did so much research. I found the college it belonged to, and I traced back the years and looked up rosters of different, like, sports teams, and I found him. Did anything happen? No, but I found him. Okay. Stalked everywhere to find the guy, but nothing. I decided it was time to give up, shaking my head thinking it just wasn't meant to be. Then on Friday, I was scrolling through TikTok, and he popped up on my For You page.
Oh, weird.
Dude,
the algorithm
knows everything.
Yeah, it's listening.
It's so scary.
And watching.
It's scary. What the heck? I swear it felt like fate or something. I tried to find his Instagram from there, but there was no link and no username on IG that matched his. So yet again, I gave up. So on Saturday, I was at a family get-together and I saw Nina. I talked to her and showed her the TikTok I found, and her face went blank. Dun, dun, dun. She then said, "Wait, this is the guy you liked?" I responded, "Yeah, why?" She then told me she thought I was pointing to his friend and pulled up a video from that night showing, like, the guy I liked standing next to a different guy. Mm-hmm. I was confused, but everything seemed fine. And then she dropped the bomb and said that she went to a World Cup watch party, and turns out that guy was there and her friend knows the guy. So she followed him on Instagram. I was flabbergasted, but what was more flabbergasting is in 30 seconds, he followed her back, swiped up on her story, and about the soccer game saying something like, "Go team." And my heart was crushed. Turns out we both like the same guy. Now, here's the thing. We're both kind of hesitant to do anything about it since we both think he's cute. At least I'm hesitant. I don't know exactly where she stands. For me, I feel like I saw him first rule applies, but then she also thought I was talking about someone else, so I don't think it counts. Also, him DMing and following her back kind of indicates interest in her. So I think in that aspect, he is kind of hers to get. I don't know. I'm just bummed because I felt like it was fate, him popping up on my For You page like that. What are the chances? I didn't even know his name, but he still popped up there. I think at this point I'm conflicted. I feel like he should have been mine since I confided in her about him first, but since she didn't know that and they follow each other, maybe that makes him her territory. I just don't want to harbor any resentment towards her if she gets him, but it just sucks, you know? Well, let me know your thoughts. Love you guys. Love Addie. And then she gave a picture of him.
Cutie.
He looks very saucy.
Mm-hmm.
So what should she do? This is like the definition of like girl talk. And I was dying because I know that I already know what you're going to say.
He belongs to nobody. Your dibs means nothing if he hasn't talked to you or even had a conversation with you. He's not yours. And guess what? He's not hers either.
Yeah.
Like, he's still very much up for grabs. And I've said this before to Taryne. That's why she's laughing so hard. But dibs literally means nothing.
Yes, it does.
If you are with, like, if you're out with girlfriends and Taryne and I both see a guy and we're both like, oh my God, he's so hot. If Taryne goes dibs, that means in my head, she gets to go, like, try to talk to him first.
She'll give me a 30-second start.
Yeah. You get to go try. Like, you get to shoot your shot first. That's how I consider dibs. If it doesn't work, I feel like the other person has their shot to take a chance. And it doesn't, no one can be in trouble because they stole someone's guy. Because guess what? That's not your guy, you know?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, he's neither of your guys's, and you still have a shot to go get him.
Yeah.
He's not hers either.
Yeah.
He's just a friend on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's because she got to talk to him first. But baby girl, you haven't said anything yet. You haven't even introduced yourself. You got to go talk to him.
He doesn't know you exist yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can't, what you're doing is you have this fantasy in your head and you're getting upset at your friend, but you haven't actually taken a step towards pursuing this guy.
Yeah.
So you need to go shoot your shot because he's not hers either. He's just out there. That's how I see it.
It's so funny because me and Ash always like we'll have these conversations about like this topic.
Yeah,
just
for like, years.
From like not even between like it's never been a actually have we ever had a crossover? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
The only one I can think of is there was one guy, but it's same thing. It was I had two people say, "Oh my God, Taryne, there's this guy. I think he would be perfect for you." Uh-huh. So I had already like see. That's the issue. There are girls or women, I'm sure humans who are like me, who our fantasy life in our head is so freaking realistic that I don't even have to know the guy and I've already started to feel like we're dating, like in my mind. Whereas you're a very like realistic, like logical person.
For sure.
So I feel like it's hard for you to understand how intense like your mind can get.
But I disagree because I felt like something we talked about on this podcast before is I have a very bad daydreaming problem where I have been on a flight with a hot guy and fully pictured our lives together, our relationship, our kids. Yeah. So I know how intense it can be, but my logical side,
that's the difference.
I still haven't done a damn thing about it.
Your logical side kicks in a lot easier than I think some other people, which is like normal. Like we all think different. But what I was saying about that one guy. So then, but nothing had happened, but I had already started being like, oh my gosh, there's this guy, like how exciting. Everyone says we'd be perfect, like whatever. And then you came home from like, you had like your circle had intertwined with his somehow. And you were like, oh my gosh, this guy asked me on a date and you told me who it was.
Yeah.
But I think like I had told you about it. So I remember when you told me, you were like, hey, this guy asked me on a date. And it was like this unspoken, like, I'm just making sure like, is this weird? And I think that's where when you are like really close friends with someone and you even have an inkling of like, wait, is this weird?
Yeah.
That's the most important part is that you just check in.
For sure.
You just check in. And I remember like, I was like, at first I was like, oh, but then I was like, wait, I don't know. Like, I don't even know him like at all.
Exactly.
And so then it was easy for me to step back because I was like, obviously I want the best for you.
Yeah.
And if that's your person, then like, why would I stop you from like, a person told me like we would be good together. You know what I mean?
And I think the thing that girls struggle with a lot, and this podcast has only confirmed that for me, is that girls go full force into that could be your person.
Yeah.
Full force into, oh, he could be your husband one day. When statistically, he's probably not. Yeah. They're probably going to go out on 1 to 3 dates and it'll end.
Yeah.
So instead of being like, oh, he's gone forever, he chose her. Like, no, he's not. He's taking her out to see if it's like a good fit. Guess what? It wasn't.
Yeah.
And that guy that we're talking about, he's still out there. So like if Taryne was like, you know what? Like, I think I do like him. I think I want to try. Like, he's still an option. Just like this guy out here, anonymous, is still an option. And if you are feeling weird because she's friends with him, then maybe you just need to have one of those conversations like, hey, I know you got his Instagram and blah, 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 blah. But like, would it be weird if I go try and like hit on him? Is it weird if I go flirt with him? Because obviously your friendship's more important.
Yeah.
This guy means nothing.
Also, I'm assuming they're younger. That's the vibe I'm getting because she said like
she wrote it,
her dad picked her up. So
yeah.
So I feel like it's different when you're younger because things feel so much bigger.
For sure.
The part in this that would affect me is I don't think I could, and we've talked about this before, and this is one way I think like our opinions don't line up. I don't think I could date a guy knowing like he used to be interested in my friend or like my friend was really into him, because for me, I don't want to ever have any like weirdness of like if we end up dating and then like we're at a party and you guys have a weird interaction. I don't even want that to be like a thought in the back of my head of like, oh my gosh, like, does he regret choosing me? Or like, oh my gosh, is she still crushing on him even though we're dating?
Right.
So like, I think especially with it being a cousin, like I feel like you just need to like, if she's already talking to him and you literally have never even, he doesn't even know you exist, I feel like you need to kind of like just let it go. And then if nothing ends up happening with them and your circles pass or cross again, and then you want to be like, hey, Nina,
yeah,
me and this guy actually have kind of hit it off. Like, I just want to make sure it's cool since like nothing really happened with you guys, then cool. But I feel like, I don't know. Like, I feel like my first instinct would be like, I need to just like take the L on this one. Like, that's just my first like thought would be.
I agree. It's not ideal to be dating someone or be in a relationship with someone that has had feelings / been in a relationship with someone you know also.
Yeah.
I will say though, and this is what Taryne and I have talked about, it's so common.
Yeah.
It's so common. We've all watched One Tree Hill. We've all watched High School. Like everyone has like small groups of friends. And unfortunately in the dating scene, especially in high school, there's only so many options. So like, it's actually really common to go out with someone who used to go out with a friend of yours. It does get stickier, I think, the older you get. But then I feel like it comes back full circle. Like, imagine I'm 50 something and I get divorced. Like, and I'm in maybe a smaller town, not in LA. LA would suck too, but like the dating pool even gets smaller. So the odds of you ending up dating someone who has dated or been married to someone you know in the past, like it's just so, I don't know. It's way more common than you think.
No,
I think the solution is conversating.
Yeah.
And I think the solution is talking openly to your friend about it.
Yeah.
So,
and I think differentiating like you were infatuated with him because you saw him from afar and you've had all this time to be like searching for him in the TikTok, and it's easy to like to get wrapped up in that, oh my God, this was meant to be, look at all these signs. But I think it's different from like, you know, if this was a guy like you've known for years, you guys are friends, and you've told your cousin over and over how you're like in love with this guy, and you like that's different.
Yeah, that's the summer I turned pretty. Like that was her crush. Like, no one's allowed to touch him. No, like that's different than this guy.
This is like, this sucks, but like you'll bounce back. And I feel like you just need to prioritize like your relationship with your cousin because you guys are family and friends. Like that comes first.
Yeah, you want that relationship in a good place.
But oh my gosh, it's so funny because like I think because my life is so drama free because like I'm just a freaking old maid in my apartment by myself playing with Legos. When I hear like drama stories, like I just love it because I'm like, I miss those days when you're like, oh my God, like so-and-so, like I like went and hung out with my crush. Like, what do I do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I just went to a party this weekend where I witnessed something crazy. So I know I'm good friends with one of these girls, and I've gotten to know her boyfriend really well. And then at this party, I met this other girl and her boyfriend. Turns out that the guys are best friends, used to be super, super close. They're still close, but not as close as they used to be. And they were dating the other girl. And so
what?
The guys used to be best friends.
Okay.
And they were dating each other's girls.
Shut up. Like
that's how they all met. Like they were all friends. They all lived together. Like,
and they basically just
they swapped girlfriends. Yeah. And they're all still friends. Like they don't live together anymore, obviously. And they aren't as close, she said, as they used to be, but they still like hang out all the time. They all go out to dinner all the time.
Nuts.
It's crazy. It's I was like, whoa. Like I do think it is a little more extreme. I don't think it's common. I'm not recommending it.
But in a weird way,
whoa, that's kind of crazy.
Like that almost would be the only way that you could do it without hard feelings because it's even.
Yeah. It's like, it's
like, it's not like, oh, like me and you, like you start dating my ex and then I bring this new guy around and I'm like, she's with my ex. Yes. It's like, you're with each other's exes.
Yes. And a big component obviously is there was no cheating. There was no filthy, like, you know, disrespectful anything happening. It just ended up being that way.
Nuts.
And they're all still like really good friends and they hang out all the time. And I was like, that's like a One Tree Hill thing. No, that's like a How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. That's like
she's sleeping with Barney and then she's sleeping with
that's a movie.
It's just interesting. But
Wow.
It can happen. You just have to have really good communication with who is important in your circle.
Oh my gosh.
See, I love talking about stuff like this.
I know.
I want to make it very clear. If you have fun, like girl talk, relationship stuff that you want to talk about, please bring it. Write it in. I want to hear about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we all love just like the drama of like life in these situations, especially
like putting yourself in that situation.
Yeah, especially those of us who like aren't in it. Like same. Like I love when there's like situations where I'm like, ooh, I've never been in that, but like this is what I would do.
Yeah. And I remember having a crush on a guy and then realizing like he was more into my friend and being like, oh,
literally my entire childhood. My entire childhood.
And it's one of those things. So you're definitely not alone. And I don't know. But to be clear, my answer to this is he's nobody's. He's fair game. Nobody's. You thinking you can't have him now, that's all in your head. So if you really like him, you still have an opportunity to go do something about it. And that's all. I'm done.
But I empathize with you because literally me, I will literally be like, feel like someone's cheating on me when they start dating someone else when I was like, oh, yeah, we've actually never met.
Yeah.
So I guess you can. But yeah, I feel you. 200 episodes, Ash.
200th. That's a big deal. This. We should have brought champagne.
We should have popped some bubbly, some clementines.
Some tequila shots and clementines. The worst.
It's disgusting. Well, guys, honestly, like, we can't thank you enough. I feel like we genuinely are nothing without you. 100%. So just as much, like, you guys are always telling us how much, like, joy we bring to you. The feeling is so mutual. Yeah, we would love, I mean, just if you think about it, like, DM us your favorite story or something that you love about the podcast. And
send us all the fun relationship.
All the memes. Yes. Stuff. But we genuinely love you guys so much. And thank you for joining us on this, like, crazy journey. Yeah. 200, baby.
Baby.
Here's to 200 more.
Baby.
Air cheers. I don't know why I thumbs it up, but
I don't know. I was like, I copied you too. I didn't even question it. I just did it. All right, guys. You already know we love you the mostest. We'll see you in the next episode.
Ash.
Oh, I thought we were getting away without it.
No. This one's so dumb. You're going to hate this.
Okay.
You're genuinely going to hate this.
Well, then don't read it.
I want to. Okay. I'll never forget the last thing my grandpa said before he kicked the bucket. He said,
dear God.
He said, hey, how far do you think I can kick this bucket?
See, that's not funny to me.
It's so good.
That's not funny to me. That's a great example of what I don't like.
It's good.
But you already know, guys.
That's not like a dad joke. That's dad humor. There's a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when my dad tells the waitress, she's like, would you like another Dr. Pepper? And he's like, no, thanks. I'm driving. Like, that's dad humor.
Yeah.
Which I don't think you like dad humor. Dad jokes you're like, about, but you don't like dad humor.
I think there's good dad jokes. There are some that are like,
but dad humor is different. Like, that's dad humor.
I like puns. I like punny stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you already know, guys. You made it to the dad joke. We love you the mostest. Send us all your funny, lighthearted stories because we love them. Yes. And we are excited for 200 more.
Yes, we are. Love you.
Bye. Bye.